I'll be speaking on Windhoek wins from the perspective of access to information. As we heard, my name is Gilbert Sendugwa. I work with the Africa Freedom of Information Center. We promote the right of access to information on the continent. Of course, the obvious question is to ask, why should we concern ourselves with the right of access to information? It is important to advance our human right, to enable us hold our governments to account, but also enjoy our right as human beings. So that being the case, let me reflect on what the situation was way back in 1991. First, at that time, there were only 12 countries with access to information legislations. So there are only 12 countries around the world with freedom of information legislations. Thank you. And none of those were in Africa. Yes. None of those was African, so that was the stage at which the Windhoek Declaration came in, and it caused a revolution. AU, the African Union, came on board and indeed established instruments or treaties that recognize the right of access to information. And thereafter, we see a number of countries guaranteeing the right to information in national constitutions. They are mentioned there. And up to 9 countries, as we speak today, adopting national freedom of information legislations. The point to note there is that 4 of these were adopted in the last 9 months. So again, to reflect that in 1990 there were only 12 countries around the world. Today there are 90, only 9 in Africa. And then ECOWAS is in advanced stages of adopting a regional framework, or sub-regional framework on access to information. So, concerned about the delays and slow progress on advancing the right to information, civil society organizations around the continent initiated what we called the Windhoek +20 campaign, basically to take advantage of the celebration of the second decade of Windhoek Declaration, but also the World Press Freedom Day of 2011 that was to be celebrated in May. And we had 3 main objectives. The first one was to advocate for UNESCO to bring the celebration of the Day of Africa. The second one was to advocate for declaration of September 28th World No Day. And then the next was for the African Union to develop a treaty on access to information. Then we, of course, recognizing that already the African Union had already taken initiatives and recognized access to information in key policy documents. Also, the African Commission, recognizing the right in Part 4 of the principles of freedom of expression in Africa. We sought partnership towards this event to again come up with an instrument, with a campaign that is going to advance the rights so that African citizens are able to enjoy their rights based on law. The African Union invited us for a shared values meeting in Abuja last year, where discussions were held and indeed the right of access to information was recognized as necessary to advance shared values in Africa. And then here we are at this meeting where we hope to agree on a declaration that is going to drive the campaign further. Let me highlight again the special concerns today. I've already indicated that a number of AU documents do recognize the right to information, but the enforcement is difficult because of lack of ratifications. Speaking about instruments like the African Charter on Democracy and Human Rights, elections and governance, the Convention Against Corruption, among many others. The other one is slow adoption of national frameworks in form of freedom of information legislations. And then in countries that have these legislations, limited implementation. And then again, we are talking about integration in many aspects, but at regional level, apart from the ECOWAS, there has been slow progress in coming up with instruments to advance the right. And of course, speaking to almost all these countries, enforcement of freedom of information legislations remains an outstanding issue. So in terms of call for action, AU member states should commit to adopt and fully implement progressive national ATI legislations. We are talking about the declaration. I think it would be important for new legislations to be in line with the declaration. A number of existing legislations could be better. The other one is to implement existing treaties and frameworks, to consider a specific, holistic, continental-wide access to information treaty, and then to encourage efforts at sub-regional level for regional economic communities to come up with national, with the sub-regional frameworks on access to information. And then to drive the whole campaign, there's need to recognize the September 28th as World Access to Information Day, which we call upon the African Union, UNESCO, and the UN to recognize. In summary, the Windhoek Declaration launched a revolution. The right of access to information is no longer in dispute. On the continent, it is recognized, but should be strengthened through ratifications and adoption of the instruments that I've already mentioned. The African Platform on Access to Information is an opportunity to drive the campaign further. And then the declaration that we are considering at this meeting complements other existing initiatives such as the model law and principles of freedom of information that the African Commission on Human and People's Rights is discussing or has in place. But without political will, it will remain a challenge to move forward. So we need political will, which I think this meeting should commit to mobilize so that we're able to go beyond this stage. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilbert. Just to mention that the African Union is one of our partners for this conference. They were supposed to have a banner here with us to express their endorsement of this process. So they are actually supporting this conference and access information. Unfortunately, the banner was delayed somewhere there in some airports, either in South Africa or in Ethiopia. My next speaker is Edith Ojo. I said that I love my speakers because all of them have been in 10 minutes. I'm not so sure this time around whether I can say that. But I need to be proven